Welcome to another edition of Scrapbooking in Belize. I am Dawn, and today we'll be looking at the Ohuhu Watercolor pens. Here is the Ohuhu, right here is the Ohuhu Watercolor pens. I got the set of 20. I believe they come up to 48 in a pack, and I have a pretty good color range. My color ranges are from yellow to black. There are no skin tones with this, and it doesn't come with a colorless blender. Now let's take a closer look at this brush pen. I think I kind of gave it away when I said brush pens because these are brush pens. They're not brush tip, they're actually brush pen. They come with bristles and it has color in it. So now it's kind of like a water pen. That's, you can see I have one here. But unlike a water pen, these are not refillable, and it already comes with a color in it. It actually has brush bristles, and it can give you amazing strokes. Very thin strokes, very broad strokes, and you can do a range of stuff with it. Even if you are into calligraphy, I think it's ideal for those persons who do calligraphy. The only thing with this brush pens, well, I call them brush pens, they're actually brush Ohuhu watercolor pens, is actually because it doesn't come with any color names. It does come with the color indicator on the back tip of the marker pen, and it comes with it here. It comes with a clear plastic cover, so you can see the color indicator in there. Now let's compare it to other watercolor pens that I found here in Belize and that I have. I have the Pointer watercolor pen here, and I also have the basic washable color pens. Now, unlike the Ohuhu, these have a fiber bullet nib on the tip, and it's not bristles. So these are very rigid, they can't move, they're not as flexible, and they don't give you as a precision tip or fine point like the Ohuhu. Now let's look at the water solubility of the Pointer, the Ohuhu, and the Basic. As you can see, the Pointer watercolor pens is very water soluble. You're able to get a lot of water out of it when you do small swatches. The basic washable pens is not as water soluble as the Pointer Pastel, and the Ohuhu brush pens is not as water soluble as the Pointer. When I did a water solubility swatch of these water brush color pens, this is how it looks like. I put a little bit of color in the corner, and I try to see how much color I could pull out, and if the marker lines that I have indicated is still visible after trying to swatch out these watercolor pens with water. As you can see, the lines is still visible. I wasn't able to pull out a lot of colors, primarily with the blues, the yellows, and some of the greens. Was not able to pull out a lot of colors. I decided to do something different. I put the color down in 1/2 of the square, and then I try to see how much color I could actually pull out in the other half of the square. And again, the conclusion is the same. The blue, the lightest green, the yellow, one of the pinks, I couldn't pull that much color even after putting down the color immediately. And I'll show you that process right now. I also tried colored with it to see how much of a gradient I could get when pulling out the colors. And so I put on a lot of color here in the corner, and I pulled it out without trying to use any other color. Just use this one color to fill in the ball. And the Ohuhu kind of work. It was a lot of work to try to pull out that little bit of color. The Basic also wasn't very good, but the pointer watercolor pen was amazing. Actually, I had to stop myself from pulling out this much color to let it look like three-dimensional shape while coloring these balls. I also tried coloring an illustration with the Ohuhu watercolor pens, and it was so difficult for me to color. I had to use it just like a basic marker because it wasn't pulling out the colors I wanted to use. I put down the color in the edges and see how much I could pull out just to give a softer look to it, and it was very difficult for me. So what I ended up doing with this piece was I had to color it just like a normal marker pen would, and then use my water brush pen here to soften up the color so there's no marker lines in the piece. Now, I didn't use the water brush that comes along with these Ohuhu watercolor pens because I prefer this Milan water brush pen better, basically because it holds more water. It has a very long barrel, so it could hold a lot of water, and has a very soft push here. It's not like the other watercolor, the water brush pens that I have that, you know, you have to squeeze hard and use a lot of energy, and after a time your hands start hurting because it's tired of squeezing and pushing. The push to let out water is very soft. It's actually rubbery, so it's very good, and it does bring out a decent amount of water. So I just prefer using my Milan water brush versus the actual brush that it comes with. But it does comes with a water brush that you can use, and that's it. There is not much I could say about these Ohuhu watercolor pens. I do enjoy the fact that it is a actual bristle brush tip that I got, and the colors are bright. Don't get me wrong, they're not dull colors at all. The only disadvantage I have for these is the amount of color you can pull with water after you had applied the color to the paper, and the fact that there is no color names. I do enjoy color names, trust me, especially as a beginner. It allows me to identify actually what colors are. I would say, however, please always check the description box below, because there's where I usually highlight the products that I use, the stores in which you can get them, especially if you want to get the Milan water brush, because I enjoy using it a lot. I use it for all my day-to-day water brush coloring needs, I guess. And I have nothing more else to say. Thank you, and I guess this is the first video for 2019. Hello, I wish you guys have an amazing 2019. I hope your 2018 was spectacular and you're ready to take on this other chapter in your life, 2019. Thank you so much, and join me next time for another edition of Scrapbooking in Belize. Bye.